So I am going to start off our webinar today. I am super excited to have a special guest, Marie Lee from Nashville, Tennessee, joining us today. Drop a 1 in the chat if you've already been following Marie or know a little bit about her, and drop a 2 if this is your first time being introduced to her. Okay, lots of new people.
We love it. Hi, everyone.
Okay, so
Mostly
I'm going to share my screen really quickly and just show you a little bit about her. So first of all, if you have not been on our webinar before and you don't know who I am, I'm Shannon Mangian. I'm in Austin, Texas. You can connect with me on Instagram at the.mangian.team. And my husband and I work together. And then Marie, you can find her at Move Me to Tennessee. So she's out of Nashville. And she's fairly new in real estate, but her account has just like taken off on Instagram. So she is one of my favorite accounts to follow. She has really awesome branding, just super practical tips. And what I also love is that her videos are, to me, do not look super complicated, which I'm meaning as a compliment, because sometimes you see people where they have like massively produced videos and a huge mega team. And you're just like, oh my God, I can't do that, or I don't have the money. But I feel like what Marie does is like so practical, and I'm like, I could do this. And so I'm super excited to learn from her. And she's really going to focus in on like how to optimize your profile, like the whole page when people first come in there, to really help you boost your business. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just kind of turn it over to Marie. Do you want to tell us a little more about yourself and about your business?
Yeah, thanks for the intro, Shannon. I think it's funny because I have been exposed to your work so much through like Tom Ferry organization events. So I feel like it's really cool to be connected to each other through Real and doing this event together. So for those of you who don't know me, which seems like it's a lot, hi, welcome, hello. My name's Marie Lee. You might know me as Move Me to Tennessee, or you actually don't. So I'm introducing myself that way. I service the Nashville area, and for the most part, that's primarily going upwards to an hour north, south, east, and west. We have a very large geographic area that we cover. I hopped into real estate in 2020, and it was my COVID pivot. And since then, I have used Instagram to be my primary lead generation source. So, Instagram for normal people, that was definitely my approach for this. I was watching what a lot of people were doing, but I didn't have the funds to really make that happen. I was scrappy and resourceful and needed to do as much business as I could for $0, and Instagram came to mind. So everything that we're going to talk about today should help optimize your profile. We're going to be talking about free tools that you can use, free mindset shifts that you can apply to your work, and maybe some different ways to just make your profile a little bit more cohesive to start generating new business. So we're going to see if I can get this presented and on the screen, and we're going to get started. Okay.
Okay, you're good.
Well,
We can.
all right. Hitting that present button, and we're getting ready to start. Okay, today we're talking all about optimizing your Instagram for supercharged lead generation. Instagram is my main lead source, and in 2023, we ended up closing around 14 million, 10 million of that coming directly from Instagram, zero of that or $0 of that in ad spend, as well as, I don't pay for advertising. I don't pay for lead generation sources. All of this is coming directly to me through direct Instagram leads, like people raising their hands saying, hey, I would love to work together with you, or agent to agent referrals. We're going to talk a little bit more about what we're going to do to our profiles to try and signal, hey, I'm ready and I'm available to these people. So 3 things we're going to be focusing on today. 1 is going to be setting up your profile. We're going to talk about some of the different categories you might choose, some of the ways that you might lay out your bio. We're going to talk about link in bio best practices, some of the things that you should have to help make the transition smooth for the user. So if somebody is coming to your page and they want to set an appointment or they want to learn more about you, how can you structure that in a way that has a really seamless flow? And then we're going to talk about some underutilized digital real estate on your Instagram profile. And that's going to be your highlights and your pin posts. How can you strategize these posts to try and maximize as much exposure as possible? So if you are just hopping on, once again, quick little intro about me. My name is Marie Lee, known as Move Me to Tennessee. I'm a real estate agent serving the Nashville area. I'm also relatively new to real, so I think we're about like 3 months in or so. Started real estate in September of 2020. At this point, we served over 70 families. 70% of my leads are coming from Instagram. And at this point in time, my sole lead generation focus is content creation. And I think of content creation as creating videos, but I also think of content creation as creating pieces that are drawing people in, that are capturing people's attention, where people are sharing with me their information so I can further follow up with them.
Awesome.
We will get started with a little temp check. So let me know where you guys are at with this statement. I'm creating content on social, but I'm not getting leads. Drop a 1 if you strongly disagree, like you're getting all the leads in the world and you don't know how to manage them. To agree, hey, like I'm posting, but it is crickets. Let's see where we are at. Okay, we've got 4, 5, 2. Let's see if we can get two more responses. Okay, we're mostly on that agree side. We've got some people that have some experience. The great thing today is everybody should be able to have some tangible takeaways. This is going to be low level, but it's going to be tactile. So no matter where you're at in your journey, you're going to find something that you can take away. If you haven't started posting yet, great. Let's get your profile optimized before you do, but let's not let that keep us from doing the work. So here's a statement. If you want to create content that brings you business, then you need to make it easy for a prospect to find and connect with you. So if we are posting on Instagram and we're feeling like, yeah, we are really not getting leads, we're not getting any kind of conversations going where people are telling me, hey, I want to work with you. Hey, I'm looking to move to this area. Hey, could you help me with XYZ? That is generally because it is probably difficult to find you or difficult to connect with you. And we will see in the upcoming slides some of those small changes that you can make to make it easier for people to connect with you, to send you messages, to let you know that they're interested in working with you, but more importantly on how to find you. How can somebody search up a real estate agent in your specific location or your specific niche? How can we get you to start ranking in that search engine so that way you might be a top choice for people? And we're going to first start out by talking about profile setup. So right off the bat, when somebody watches a reel or sees a post that you are posting and they are drawn to it, they're like, wow, I want to know more information about this person. And they click on your profile, they come directly to your page. I like to think of this as window shopping. People want to know what it is that they are going to be looking at before they step into your store, if it's going to be worth their time, if your vibe matches what they're interested in. So with our page, we want to really give some great first impressions, and we're going to focus first with a good quality profile photo. So we want to use a high quality photo. If you have invested in brand headshots or lifestyle headshots, we want to make sure it's of you. Like, we don't really want to go the logo route. We don't want to do something that's a full body shot. We want something that's a headshot that we can see your face. We can make an association with who you are. We want it to be simple. We want it to be consistent across all platforms. So what you've got on Instagram, you've got on Facebook, you've got on LinkedIn, you've got on your email signature, all of these things, we want it to be as cohesive as possible. Now we're going to talk about our handle, and that's the way that people recognize us. So people might know us as our name or where we're located. My handle's at Move Me to Tennessee. This particular handle is easy to read and understand. I don't have a lot of numbers or underscores or periods, things of that nature. You want to consider keywords because your handle is it's a really great trigger for search engine optimization. So for me, I want people to know that I primarily help people with relocating to Nashville or relocating to Tennessee. So Move Me to Tennessee is signaling to people what it is that I specialize in. Names are a really great option for this. Locations are great. Service terms are great. Some examples of great handles could be your name, like your first and your last name, real estate, your location, like Gig Harbor Living, homes by your name, moving to your location. They don't necessarily have to be real estate related, but you want to make sure that people know who you are, where you serve, or what can they really come to know if they're coming to your profile. Now we have a name line, and that name line is that bold line that is on our profile. This is actually a searchable term. So you have your handle, which is your name, and somebody can specifically search for your handle. But if somebody's wanting to know, hey, who's a Nashville realtor that I could connect with? And if I'm going into the search bar and I'm typing in Nashville realtor, if I don't have that in my name line, chances are I'm probably not going to rank in the top search bar for people who are interested in that kind of search. So you would like to use your first and your last name, and then maybe some optimized keywords. This is going to be key for people finding you. So we were talking about creating content, but we need to make it easy for people to find us. This name tagline is probably the most important part of your profile. So if you are working in Houston and you are only working in new construction, I might have Marie Lee, Houston new construction expert. If I am a military person or I focus on helping military families, I might put that military base that I am servicing and who I'm helping, like PCS specialist. So I'm helping people make the move in and out of this military town. If I'm specifying a specific location, like a specific neighborhood or a specific town, I would have that area name and real estate or realtor at the very end. So these are just a couple of different suggestions that you might consider. And then we're talking about our bio. These are the lines that people can read when they're coming to your profile. So I like to keep this between 3 to 4 lines. These are going to be easy to read statements. We don't want to use really long and difficult to read statements. I like to keep them concise and I like to keep them bullet points because people have short attention spans and we want to make sure that we are not causing people to scroll away from our profile or lose their attention. I think your profile should be answering 3 main questions. 1, who are you helping? I am in my bio stating that I'm helping people make the move to Nashville. Like I'm helping people relocate here. 2, how are you qualified to help them? What's a stat or maybe certification that you have? What sets you apart from other people? We call this social proof, and you want to show to people that you are qualified to help them. So for me, I'm using some numbers to help generate that know, like, and trust factor, like, oh, she's done this a time before too. So this isn't something that she's brand new to doing. Okay, I've got some experience here. Some of the things that you might think of, or maybe how long you've been in real estate, or I I don't know, sometimes people will put in their transaction volume, things like that. I don't think that that is a very great term for potential clients, maybe to agents. Clients don't necessarily know what that means. But just think of a way, if you've got a certification, like you are a home buyer accredited agent, maybe I would have that in my second line. And that third question that I'm answering is, what value can you provide them? So you've got to give people a reason to be on your profile. You have to offer them something if you want them to work with you. So what are you going to offer them? If they are coming to your page, they're not just getting content, but they want multiple points of entry to work with you. So for me, I am offering people freebies, so like guides, downloads, and lead magnets. And I'm also offering people consultations. So we're going to hop on a quick call, see if we're a good fit for one another. And if we are, what are those next steps going to be? We can have all access to that with our link in bio. Our link in bio is where we're going to capture these leads. If people are saying, hey, I want to work with you, we want them to go to the link in our bio. It needs to be clickable. And I think you should have one link, not multiple links. So I'm directing people specifically to this website. And once people go to that website, then I have different options for them to choose from. They can download the freebie. They can book a call with me. They can sign up for my newsletters, things of that nature. And we're going to get into what that portion looks like. I believe it's next. So I'm going to pause here. I would like for somebody to drop an aha moment like, wow, this really clicked for me in the chat. I'd like to see at least 3 people share something that they've learned so far about profile setup. And we'll do a live Q&A towards the end of this. So if you have questions, hold on to them. We'll see if we can get to them at the very end. But what are some aha moments that you've had? Questions to be answered are brilliant. All right. I need to update my profile pic. We love the transparency, Jimmy. Okay. A lot of things that I haven't considered. These are things that we aren't necessarily considering. Scott saying, yeah, the intentionality behind this, it's very intentional. And I think it has to be if you're wanting this to be a lead generation source. So often we are posting and attracting realtors when in reality, we want to post and we want to attract clients. When we are focusing on the clientele perspective, we need to make a couple of mindset shifts so that way we can actually attract those clients versus just getting agents to interact with our content. Value needs to be clear. Yes, clear, concise advice. We love it. So let's hop into that link in bio. We're going to move on into that second section. Profile setup is really just that find portion. We want to be found. We want to be searchable. But now we want to give people an opportunity to connect with us. So our link in bio, we've got a couple of essential components. If you go to my link in my bio, you click that one little clickable link, this is what you're going to see. I have a links account, links.co. You can also use Linktree, Milkshake. There are a lot of different versions of link in bio hosting sites. But on this hosting site, this is going to sound really elementary, but when I go to most people's profile, this is like the biggest thing that I fail to see on agents page. And that's going to be just contact buttons. If you're going to somebody's profile, you want them to connect with you, you need to make it easy for them to connect with you. So when I am putting together my link in bio, I have all of my contact buttons included on here. That includes my email, my phone number, my forms to my other social media accounts. And people will click on these things directly. Like if they're ready to take action and they're ready to do something with you, they might go this route. If you don't have your information included here, then you might consider adding those things. Your information is public record anyway, so go ahead and add it in there. The second thing that we're looking at is a scheduler. So the first button that I have for people to click is a work with me 15-minute call button. I use Calendly, and people can schedule a call with me for just 15 minutes. And on that call, it's really just a screening call. Who are you? What are you looking to accomplish? How might I be able to help you? Like, what information do you feel like I need to know in order to accomplish a specific result for you? So I have had so many people that have just booked calls with me because I've had that in my profile or in my link in bio. I think last year we had over 80 appointments that were set. These are all inbound appointments where people are registering to talk and chat with me. I am not outbound prospecting at all. These are people who are like, hey, I'm ready to have a chat. Let's talk a little bit more. That looks like this. If you click on that 15-minute scheduler button, you will see that it is a 15-minute phone call, and you can select a day to have a call with me. I put it so you can only book a call about 10 days, 10 business days out. I don't want it too far in the future so that way I forget about it. But I also want to have some protection there. Like, I don't want people to be able to set calls with me that day. I want people to set them with me in the future so I can plan for it. I can block off time if needed. We'll get more into that. I'm sure you guys have questions about that in just a little bit, but we're going to talk about some of these other portions. So the contact buttons are right here at the top. Scheduling an actual call with me is going to be the first button. And then the second and third button that I have available are landing pages. So these are when I'm talking about those freebies in my bio, I'm talking about these things. A freebie is a guide or something that I'm offering to somebody in exchange for their information. So for me, I'm primarily working with buyers. I'm offering people a home buying guide because that is my ideal client. That is who I want to attract. So down at the very bottom of this screen, you'll see download your free home buying guide. That is a freebie that is intentionally selected for my ideal client. But what if somebody wants to work together, but they're not that ideal client? What is something of value that I can offer them? If they don't need a guide or it's not applicable to them, I still want to connect with them, but I am going to offer them just a very general way. I have a monthly newsletter that I put together called the Nashville Hot Take. This is an email opt-in page. If somebody were to go and click on this page, it's going to tell them what they can expect in my monthly email, and it's going to ask them for their name and their email. They can sign up for this. I'm not automatically delivering anything to them. They're just letting me know, hey, I'd like to stay in touch and learn a little bit more. You've caught my interest. I'm intrigued. This is what the landing page will look like. I've got, like I said, where they can put their first name and their last name. I've got like a bullet list of items on what they can expect. They can tap this button and they are automatically opted into my emails. I use for both my freebies and my monthly newsletters, Coffee and Contracts templates. So Coffee and Contracts is a real estate company, a real estate marketing company that offers templates, tools, and trainings. This exact setup right here, like this landing page setup, was a training that was hosted in the Coffee and Contracts community. I don't have time to design a whole bunch of stuff, and to be honest, design is not my forte. I'm a very basic gal. So if I want something that looks really good and I can't spend a whole bunch of time on it, I'm going to outsource. So Coffee and Contracts is the resource that I use, and I'm pulling things from there to then try to connect with people. So these aren't things that I'm doing all on my own, but I am offering them to people in hopes to give me get me business. So It's a great subscription, in my opinion. If you want to check it out and you're not a member, code Marie is $15 off. I'm actually a coach in that particular community, and I do trainings about once a month on social. Now we'll talk about highlights, pin posts. Before we move on to that, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat if you already have a link in your bio, or I want you to drop a 2 in the chat if you do not. Like, you don't have anything for anyone to click, you don't have anything for people just yet. Okay, we've got some links in bios, it looks like. If you were to rate your link in bio, do you feel like it is a 5? Like, hey, this is 5 stars. I'm offering people multiple ways to connect with me. Or do I feel like it's a 1, like, hey, I've got a lot of work to do to optimize my link in bio? Go ahead and drop a chat in there. We've got a lot of 1s. If you are a 1, I want you to just reflect on where your current standings are. So we're a little across the board. If you are ranking yourself high, we love that. If you're ranking yourself low, you've got some great tangible tips and takeaways to implement after today. Feel free to go to my profile. My profile has a couple of slight switches from when this presentation was put together, but you can feel free to use my profile as a form of inspo. Highlights and pin posts. Let's get into it. Your highlights section is the first few posts that you can have on your profile. When you post something, if you click on the 3 dots up at the top right-hand corner, you will notice a couple of different options. And one of those options is going to say pin to profile. I want to be very intentional about what I'm showcasing to people. So I will pin very specific posts at the top of my profile to introduce myself, to give people just a brief look at the vibe that I have to bring, or maybe to answer some questions. I might also have a profile or pinned post of like who I'm helping and what it looks like for them so they can begin to visualize it. If I'm hosting an event or a giveaway, I might have a pinned post for one of those items. I am updating these regularly. I don't have a specific time frame in which I am updating them, but I would say they're updated probably around once a quarter because I want to make sure that they are relevant to people. A really big mistake that I see with a lot of agents is they are pinning posts that have a lot of likes or a lot of views or a lot of engagement. We call those vanity metrics. That might be great to show that you've had this maybe viral post, but it might not necessarily click with your ideal client and it might not necessarily be relevant for them. So I would shy away from those things because even though they're great to have other agents involved and sharing your posts, it might not necessarily be helping your business. On here, I've got covers and things that are very easy for people to read. I am not bogging them down with lots of text. It is very short, very sweet. They can automatically see what it is that I'm having to offer just by taking a look at it in less than 10 seconds. Some questions that I might ask, I'm talking about pin posts this whole time, and we've got highlights up on the board. So we're gonna go back to pin posts, which are right here and what I was talking about, and we'll go back to highlights in just a second. So going back to these pin points or these pin posts, I would ask yourself, what does it look like for us working together? I think visualization content is really helpful for people who you might potentially want to work with. What does it look like for you working together, either behind the scenes, or what is it that you are providing the person? Almost like a point of view type of post. I would highly suggest a start here post, and then I would highly suggest a visualization post where people can see what it is like to work with you or how you work with people throughout the transaction. Now let's talk about highlights, these little bubbles up here. These little bubbles, I have them almost like, as highlights, but I'm highlighting very specific things. I have a start here bubble, so people can go to my profile and they can read this post of who I am, who I serve, what's my spiel. They can swipe and read that. But if you go to my highlights, I actually have a start here bubble where I'm talking to people on the camera and I'm introducing myself to them, telling them a little bit more about my story, how it is that I work, what they can expect from me. So I can go ahead and establish rapport with them right off the bat. I also have some other bubbles like client wins. I want people to see what value it is that we are bringing to clients. How much money are clients saving? How much money are we netting for sellers? What kind of wins are we having in a really difficult market right now? And every single transaction that you are doing has some sort of win. You just really need to think about what was that amazing opportunity that you are going to showcase and highlight. Some other categories you might have might be tutorials and events. For me, relocations are a really big part of my clientele, so I'm trying to show them what that looks like if I'm hosting classes or things like that. The covers that I have here are really easy to read. I simply create these in my stories section on Instagram. I pick the same color background, the same text. I type in what I want the cover to be, and then I hit save. It generates an image and bam, I just created my highlight bubble cover photo. All of these things I am doing inside the Instagram app. I am not using outside editing apps. I'm not spending any money on all this. I'm just using the resources that are in front of me, just sometimes in some creative ways. That's wrapping up everything that we're talking about together today. We're going to hop into some Q&As in just a few moments, maybe some profile audits. But before we move on to that, we talked about how people can find you with your profile set up. We talked about how people can connect with you with your link in your bio. And then we talked about how you can showcase your expertise and hopefully signal to your ideal clients who you are and what you have to offer. So with those three things that we learned, let's do a quick little reflection. What part of your Instagram profile are you planning on working on first? Go ahead and drop it in the chat. See if we can get a couple of moments. Adding contact buttons to my link page. Yep, Shannon, so easy. What was the company that I used for my link in bio? I used links.co. Links used to be free. Right now it's $4 a month. Personally, I really like the format of it more than some of the free options. So I feel like it's worth my $4 a month. But if you want something free, Linktree, Milkshake are great options. I'm gonna create a Linktree. We love it, Tasha. All right, I'm gonna pop out of this and stop screen sharing. And Shannon, I'll let you take things back over.
Yeah, so I thank you so much for sharing that. As much as I'm like, I've worked on my bio and I'm like, okay, I think it's all right. I always get tips from you. And I've just from while following your account, I had already kind of done like a pinned post that says start here. I kind of copy some of the things you've done because I've seen you in other trainings. But I walked out with several new things where I'm like, okay, I need to do this again. So does anyone, I'll just kind of open it up like audience Q&A. Are there specific things that you would like Marie to answer for you or something that you want her to go back and kind of like dig into a little bit deeper? So Jimmy is asking, how do you feel about a personal Instagram versus a work IG?
Yeah, great question, Jimmy. I get this one a lot. My personal opinion is I would combine your two. when I first started out, had a personal account and then I had a professional account. It was just really hard to generate any kind of business with that professional account because the people who I wanted to work with weren't following me. In addition to getting people to raise their hand saying, "Hey, I want to work with you," I also want to remind people who know me already, who I'm connected with, who it is that I'm serving, how I can serve them, that I'm in real estate. It's almost as it's an opportunity for me to stay top of mind. And I think that that is a little bit of a mindset shift when you start posting about real estate stuff if you have just posted personal stuff. And there will be a transition period. If you're taking a personal account and you're starting to post real estate content, you will have people who will unfollow you. You will have people who are wondering what it is that you are doing and why you are trying to do this. But once you get past that block, I feel like you are opening yourself up to a world of opportunities to people outside of your circle because you're wanting to hopefully attract business, but also to people in your circle. They're seeing you give others this great experience, great advice, and they see you as a qualified person to help them. So I'm a big fan of a combined account.
Scott is asking, why did you pick Move Me to Tennessee instead of just Marie Lee?
I think there are a million Marie Lees, and before I got married, my last name was a little bit more unique. My last name was Reuter. So for a period of time, I was Realty by Reuter. But when I was when I got engaged, Reuter, I feel like is a little easier to differentiate. Marie Lee just blends in with everything. So I knew that I needed something to stand out. And I mean, there's not really many things that were open for Marie Lee, so I decided to go all in on my ideal client, Scott.
Cool. Annie, I want some people to come off or like where it's not just me talking. So Annie, can you unmute yourself and just ask your question?
Hi, yeah. So I feel like sometimes I get a little bit confused on what I should be posting on my feed and reels versus what's on my stories because I feel like stories really let people tap into your day to day and engage a little bit more and don't feel pressured to send you a message or comment, but can easily just message you something. So I'm curious to what you feel like should be posted as stories on a daily basis.
Yeah. So great question because I think I approach them two separate ways in two different ways. So for the content that I'm putting in my on my profile, like as reels, as posts, that content I'm specifically targeting my ideal client. If I'm wanting people to interact with me, I'm wanting people to see what things look like to work with me, I will put that in my stories. Or if I'm wanting to post something that is not my ideal client, then I'll post there. Fernanda asks about using some content that's made for agent attraction. And I think this would be a great example of that. So like for me, I'm trying to attract clients. I'm not trying to attract agents. Therefore, there's not going to be anything on my profile that's going to be focused on agent attraction or focused on reel. But if you go to my stories, that would be something that I would post to my stories. It shows up on people's accounts. They can go, they can watch it, they can engage with it, but it's only there for 24 hours and now it's not a part of my permanent content library. If I wanted it to be, and I feel like, wow, this is a really great way for me to potentially connect with other agents to interest them in reel, then I might create a little highlight bubble that categorizes and collects all of these posts that I'm making about reel that are focused on agent attraction. So I'm just using that as an example. Things like client wins, maybe I might talk about them on my profile or my post, but I'm more than likely sharing them in my stories because people get a little bit tired of seeing things like just solds and just listeds, right? So I'm just being very intentional about the collection that I'm curating there.
Awesome. Amy, do you want to come off camera or unmute yourself and ask your question as well if you're here? Nope. Amy Ingram is asking, do you ask potential clients a few preliminary questions when they're booking a call on your Calendly through the like the link in bio, or is it just like, surprise, who am I talking to when you get those bookings?
So I think this is twofold. One, I like to try and keep my conversations very short, and I do that through the questions that I'm asking. So when somebody goes to book a 15-minute call, I want it to be broad, so that way, whether somebody's looking to buy or sell or accomplish anything, they can book this call with me. So I'm asking them for their name, I'm asking them for their number, I'm asking them for their email. And then the three questions that I'm asking are, where are you located? So that lets me know, like, who am I working with? Am I working with somebody who's local, or am I working with somebody who's looking to potentially relocate? Then I am asking them, what are you looking to accomplish? And they will let me know, hey, I'm looking to relocate, or hey, I'm looking to buy in a couple months, my lease is about to end. They'll kind of give me a little preliminary answer. And then that third question that I ask is, what information do you feel like I need to know before our conversation? And that is a paragraph option for people to fill out. All of these questions for me are required because I feel like they're all really important to have answers to. So that way, when I have a call with somebody, I'm picking up the phone, I'm making the call. Hey, this is Marie Lee. Move Me to Tennessee. You booked a call today, and it looks like we're trying to accomplish XYZ. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? And I just get straight into business. I don't spend a lot of time establishing rapport because they've been on my profile. They know who I am, and now they have shared with me what they're looking to accomplish. I want to keep it as concise as possible. And if we feel like we're going to work together in the future, then I might suggest a formal consultation a little bit later down the line, like a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting where we're really diving into specifics. This call allows me to consider, hey, what might next steps look like for you? Might it be talking to a lender? Might it be conducting a home search? Might it be putting together like a relocation trip or answering just some of your preliminary questions? It gives me a very targeted focus with those three questions.
I love that. And I'm like, okay, I need to tweak what I'm doing on my Calendly. I've been using Calendly, and I may also simplify. I like how you just have one link with those questions. Cause right now it's like, if you go to my Calendly, it's like, are you wanting to buy? Are you wanting to sell? You know, and there's something for agents there. So I'm like, maybe just one simple link and that's it. And then they tell why. I just like simplicity, which is what
And
I love about your page.
yeah, and I think that I have tried using multiples. Like I tried, um, organizing it by who I was trying to help. And I
Right.
noticed when I did that, my conversion rate went down significantly. Like people didn't know what they were going to select almost.
Okay.
But once I made it that one option, then I feel like I was starting to get more bookings and calls. So the end, or the moral of the story of today is, keep it simple and be very explicit about what you're trying to achieve. I feel like those two things can help you with your messaging so much.
Okay. Jimmy's asking, he's newer. He says he doesn't have clients yet. So I know you focused a lot on like how you're helping your clients. If he doesn't have clients, where would you suggest that he starts to start building that trust?
Yeah, Jimmy, I would start talking about your market, and not necessarily like market updates, but maybe I would get out into the field and start showcasing new construction developments. A very easy reel that I posted, and it got a lot of controversy on the walkthrough with the broke agent. I started doing a reel where I will highlight homes in Nashville under $500,000. And then it goes to the next, I guess, the next scene. And it's me scrolling through the MLS, showing them a list of homes that meet this criteria. And the whole purpose of it is, if somebody watches this and they're like, oh, I want a list of these homes, if they comment a specific keyword, then I'm going through there and sending them that list. And I'm not advertising that these are my listings at all. I am directly linking them to the MLS. So for anyone who's like, I can't do that because I cannot advertise listings that aren't mine, I'm not advertising that these are my listings. Ask your broker your questions if you need to. I'm directly sending them to the MLS, and then I'm following up with them a question that is, would you be interested in receiving a link of these homes weekly? And if they say yes, then I ask them for their email and I put them directly on that home search. That particular post, I just did a relocation for a client who's probably going to be closing in the next 3 to 4 months, who found me specifically from that one post. So a post like that's great. And then you can swap it out for other qualifiers. So like if you have people who are looking for an acre of land, or who are looking for new construction, or who are looking to be in a condo, you can do that one post multiple times. So that would be a type of post that I would focus on. I could get into a whole bunch of different post ideas, but
All right,
Just stop
last,
there.
that's amazing. I love the whole MLS thing because that's just like brilliant. One of the things that I also started doing where I get in business is just home tours, and you don't have to have a client. A lot of times I will do behind the scenes of like, I'm out with a client today, and it is like a real life journey, kind of an HGTV thing. But my broker always told me, like, when you don't have business, go out and learn, like you said, see all the inventory. And so not, you know, owner occupied houses, but I use a lot of new construction and just like, hey, I'm out touring these homes. Which of these would you pick? You know, I'm looking at whatever, 500,000 homes with the best view, whatever, like the qualifier. And it's like, okay, there's this one, this one, this one. What would you have picked? They think you're busy because it's like, oh man, she must be out with clients. So just say I'm out touring homes today and with a mission to find this, but just make it fun, kind of like a game. And I get a lot of interaction that way. James is also posting, like, if he's been inconsistent with his Instagram, what would you recommend to like help get him focused back on it? Do you have like a process on how you're batching your content, or like how you're consistently posting?
So I don't necessarily have a process, but to answer your question, James, I would focus first on optimizing my profile before perfecting my content. And the reason is you could have a really casual piece of content that does generate a lot of interest, but if people don't know how to take action with you, then you're missing opportunities. So that link in bio, super important. Those contact buttons, super important. I would focus on those things first. So when you do start posting content, you can have things for people to go ahead and connect with. So what was I gonna say? I would focus on that, and then I would focus on the content. And when it comes to focusing on the type of content that I'm putting out or batching content, I do everything in my phone, in the Instagram app. I know a lot of people use different training tool or different editing tools like CapCut and everything else. I am only using the Instagram app. Personally, I don't want to learn another app. So everything that I'm doing in the Instagram Reels editor. A lot of the time, I am using previously recorded content and using it to like map out a story. So if I'm making a reel, chances are there was a point in time where I would be getting ready to get on camera, show up on camera, do trends and dances and all those things. And then I got to a point where I was like, I'm burnt out from this. And this is taking up a lot of time. I just started focusing on using content that I've already created, like I've already captured through these walkthroughs, through some of these homes that I'm touring, etc., and then just trying to use that for content. So we call that using B-roll content. If you can use that and start focusing on documenting rather than creating, it's going to make your content creation go a whole lot smoother.
I think it's also more authentic because it just like I said, people want to see more of the story. I feel like that's why they love HGTV. So it's just kind of like showing your area, and what you can get is it feels more authentic to me. All right, a couple of people have their hands up. Abby, do you want to ask your question?
Hey, that's the great inspiring stories and everything else. So my question is, you probably covered this already. Where did you transform from your name to move to Tennessee? Move Me to Tennessee, the Katie Day you said in Houston. So
Mhm.
when did you do that? And also, I was just kind of going through your Instagram and I see, yeah, all your posts was kind of like mine prior to 2020, and then it switched everything to the house. Is that when you got in real estate? But I'm really inspired by everything I heard today, and I know it's not a tutorial. I just want to know more about how to make that bubble thing.
Yeah. So, to make that name change, I think I was just talking about how I used to be Realty by Reuter, and then I was planning on getting married, and my name was going to be super, super common. I needed something to stand out. That was in the 20, I guess at that point was 2021. And I don't know how long you've been around on socials or what socials you've been on, but 2021 was peak Clubhouse era. So when everybody was all shut down and at home, there was this app called Clubhouse and everybody was hopping on and it was audio only. And I started getting exposed to all of these different real estate creators. And Katie Day was one of them. So she, being the Move Me to Texas team, I was like, yeah, I think I need to do something similar to that. So I definitely used her for inspiration there. And I ended up making that switch in November of 2021. So for me, Move Me to Tennessee has been around now for several years, has been part of my brand journey. And I've seen a lot of other spinoffs where people are move me to specific cities or move me to different states. So I think the beauty of it is there are a whole bunch of cities, a whole bunch of states and provinces out there. People can put their own spin on it. And we're all targeting different people. So I think that's answered question number one. You had question number two, and it was talking about the transformation of content. Tell me a little bit more about what you're wondering. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding your question clearly.
No, you're talking to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I think you switch everything. Like if you look at mine, Abby Matthew, you see I just kind of random everything, like my dog, my kids, family, and then I see it seriously switched over. Maybe that's when you got a real estate or something. Moved. I mean, everything is kind of bright colors, and I was looking at it. Anything prior to 2020, your post just like mine. It's just everything everywhere, and you're being consistent. So I think that helps you. It's a huge thing. And I worked really hard, but nothing like you, but I got 1,300 followers and he had 28,000. I said, gosh, I just need to study this one as a master class, and just look all this recording. And, probably I'm not doing something, consistent, probably not getting there.
I think a really big part of growth is having consistent messaging. And one of the ways that you can do that is by focusing on posting to the same audience over and over again. Like when I'm going to people's profiles, sometimes I'll get a little confused on who they're trying to talk to. And it's because sometimes they'll be talking about like down payment assistance programs. And then next time they're talking about how to sell your home for the most amount of money. Well, those are two different audiences, right? And then they might be talking about like some real estate humor. And now I'm talking to real estate agents, and those are completely different audiences, like all three of those. So I would create some content pillars to help rein in my messaging, things that I can talk about over and over again, but in multiple ways. So things like mortgages, that's usually a really easy topic to talk about. People always have questions about finances. Things like maybe the buying process or the selling process, whichever one you are mostly focused on. And then maybe another one would be things like client wins, where you're talking about how you're helping your clients or where your clients are seeing really big wins in your marketplace. And then I would just talk about those three things over and over, just in different ways. And now you don't have to think about recreating everything under the sun. You can just focus on these three things, and it's going to make your content creation a lot more uniform and simple.
Well, that's definitely like the best advice is like know your audience. And I had one point had hired an Instagram coach to help me. And that's what she told me too. I'm like, you're all over the place. She's like, who is your client? And so once I narrowed it down to like a move up buyer, then it made a big difference. Last question, Michael from Chicago. Thank you for your patience and having your hand up.
Yeah, thank you very much. A quick question going back to those links that you have that Marie, I guess, uses coffee and contracts for. Um, those links, I'm new to Real. Is this connected through Lofty? How are you getting those? Where the landing pages? Where are you getting them created and stuff? If you could answer that.
Sure. So the link in bio site itself is called Links. That's LIINKS.co. So that is a specific website that has all of those buttons. And when you click on those buttons, those landing pages are made on ConvertKit. ConvertKit is a landing page website. They have a free tool that you can use, and I would highly recommend that. There are some paid tools out there. MailChimp has a landing page option. Flowdesk has a landing page option. I had this going before I made the transition over to Real, so I use ConvertKit. I do not use Lofty, but I do believe Lofty has that capability. If somebody wants to talk about that, I personally don't have Lofty at the moment, have been toying around with the idea of adding it to my tech stack. So anyone else want to add to that question?
So I know we can do a landing page on Lofty. I have no idea how to do it. So you might ask Lofty support. I'm fortunate that my husband has a background in software development and web design. So I'm just like, hey, I need a downloadable, like a guide landing page. So, but we are also in the process of switching from Lofty to a different hosting platform. So I don't know, but I would reach out to Lofty support and see if they can help you just make a simple template that's like a fill in your name, your address or whatever. And then we did have it set up where then the email would just get an auto reply, like here's our free guide or here's this or whatever. So it can be done. Reach out to Lofty support.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I know they're at 3 p.m. through Real. There's a 3 o'clock call. I think it's with Jeff Wayland or something. So I don't know if anybody wanted to know that. But thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're welcome. All right. Any last minute? Scott is asking, do you have a website too, and the importance of how it supports your business? Like people from do you get people from Insta looking at your website? I guess he's just asking what role does that play?
Yeah, great question. Don't go look at my website. It's currently out of compliance since I transitioned over brokerages. Okay. So that's one thing. Two, I feel like websites are important for SEO purposes, but I don't think that they're necessary. Like personally, I know that they say don't have all of your eggs in one basket. Like if you're focused only on one platform, what happens if that platform goes down? But I can use my link in bio across platforms. Like I have it linked in my Facebook. I have it linked on my LinkedIn. These are things that everybody can use no matter what platform they are on. So I feel like having a link in bio is almost more important than having a really great website. If you don't have a website already, I would just focus on having ways for people to connect with you, showing how they can learn from you or connect with you, like the landing pages that we were talking about, and then maybe just showcasing a little bit more about who you are, who you help, some about me pages, etc.
Awesome. I love that tip. All right, we are going to go. They're going to kick us off in like 30 seconds or so for the next webinar. But thank you guys so much. I will send out a replay of this. It is also recorded right now in Real Academy on Workplace. But everyone who's signed up will also get an email that has the replay, and it's going to be on YouTube as well. So you can go back and share it with someone else that might need it. So thank you guys so much. Also reach out to either of us on Instagram if you want to have more follow-up conversations, and we're both here to help. See you. Bye.
Guys, bye.
Thanks a lot.